Route 9D across from the cemetery. And it's currently zoned R20, and we're proposing it to be a residential multifamily. It's directly adjacent to Chanticleer condominiums. It's just to the south of that, so we're proposing two-story buildings, 24 units in total, 12 two-bedroom units and 12 one-bedroom units, and it has central water and central sewer and access off of 9D. So I'm just here to kind of see what you guys think about potentially rezoning the parcel.
How big of a parcel is it?
It's 5.5 acres.
And how much space is this going to take? It looks like, according to this, maybe a little over an acre?
Little over an acre. There's two layouts. One of the layouts is about half of what the other layout is.
Yeah, Jay, I met with them before in regards to this project here, and first they proposed the buildings to go more behind the neighbors' houses, and they, we saw if we can have it situated so it's not right behind them, and they did move them down, so it's really closer to the RM they have out there now.
So layout 2 is what you're saying is preferred?
Right, that's what we looked at.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody prefers so far.
Because we were also questioning the wetlands, which we're going to be looking into to see if that is or not. You
Right.
think it's not, I think that's going to be checked out by the town next.
Right. I actually gave you guys a letter from my wetland biologist. So there's an easement along Chanticleer condominiums for the sewer connection, and the water connection is along Route 9D. And so layout 2 eliminates the buildings from being directly behind the residential units. And layout 2 has approximately 10 extra parking spaces, more than the code requires.
So like I said, I'm in favor, like I said, of 2. I like that they at least came back with a different option, so it's less complaints if there is going to be any.
And this backside that butts up to the residential would be left green? Would it be left undeveloped?
Correct. So the way it's laid out right now, you have the refuse enclosure. It's basically just the refuse enclosure and some driving area behind the northernmost residential parcel.
Is this market rate housing, affordable housing, workforce housing? Or?
Market rate.
Anybody got any other questions? No? Thank you.
I have a question. Procedurally, would we apply to the town board first, or would we apply to the planning board first?
Town board first.
Town board? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, give us a couple days and we'll see if there's any other comments that they come up with before you apply. That brings us to our second item on the agenda, Climate Smart, Michelle Gluck. Good evening, Michelle. How are you?
Hi. Good, Mel. How are you?
Good.
Thanks. Just have items to pass out, if that's all right.
Okay. Sure.
Oh, thank you.
So just move up there, just state who you are, where you're from.
Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Gluck, and I'm... Is that better? Okay. My name is Michelle Gluck. I'm a resource educator for Cornell Cooperative Extension, Dutchess County. I'm here tonight to present about some projects we were supporting the town of Poughkeepsie with in 2019. one of which is a climate smart resiliency planning tool process. And then the second is a climate smart communities program assessment to gauge where the town is at in achieving climate smart communities program certification. So in your folders that you received this evening, on the right is a recommendation summary for the town. That's the climate smart resiliency planning process. And then on the left, you have the results of the certification assessment. You also have examples, some resources for various grant opportunities related to this work and just resiliency planning. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background on this process. So we started the work. It was about a 3 to 6 month process to complete the tool, and it involved engaging the Climate Smart Task Force, the town planning department staff, and then others. So you can see a list of all the municipal staff and then stakeholders that were engaged with this. It starts out completing a checklist. The tool itself is an Excel spreadsheet, essentially. It's a very large document, so I did not print out copies for everyone, but the town did receive this digitally. And it involves 6 sections ranging from just a list of all the municipal plans that the town has, and they're all assessed through a lens of resiliency planning. Then, there's plan integration section, hazard mitigation, communications, and emergency preparedness. So all of these sections you go through, and there's a series of yes or no questions, which I largely completed, but then when I had questions, I would engage with municipal staff that were experienced on that subject or whoever might have that knowledge. That gives you, it's kind of like a gaps and opportunities analysis. So if there's a no answer, then that could become a recommendation. So that's kind of how the recommendation summary was completed. And this document can serve just to give us a snapshot of where the town's at, and a roadmap sets kind of like a roadmap for prioritized recommendations of what to pursue related to this subject. It can also be helpful just to demonstrate, when applying for specific grants, this can be supportive documentation for the town. So I can just give you a couple examples of, part of this is laying out, again, like the strengths of the town, opportunities, and then the recommendations. So, for example, one of the strengths of the town we found is that, has an active CAC and a Climate Smart Task Force now that can help, pursue this, some of the recommendations and that work. The town's actively engaged in, the watershed intermunicipal council, pursuing and receiving grants related to resiliency planning and laying all those out, at this time. Areas of opportunity, the town's working on a comprehensive plan update and incorporating sustainability elements as well as some of the recommendations of this planning process, of the Climate Smart Resiliency Planning process into that comprehensive plan update. So that's an opportunity. And then there's specific recommendations going through each of the sections of the tool as well. I just wanted to also highlight that anytime we have a recommendation that is correlated with a Climate Smart Communities program action, that's identified for you. And then at the end of this recommendation summary, we do include potential funding sources so that that can be a resource. So we're not just saying, okay, here's the recommendations, but also these are different state or regional funding sources to implement. So are there any questions about this tool itself, or?
Anybody have any questions this time?
Having just received it, no.
No, yeah, I know, yes.
Has the CAC been provided a copy so they can kind of dig through and see what makes sense for them?
Climate Smart has a liaison to the CAC,
Oh,
so
okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this, yeah, okay.
We had a great turnout. We did a resiliency training. We had a good turnout. I think there was a lot that went on, and a lot of the town staff interacted with 3 or 4 other towns at the same time. So I think we learned a lot, and we learned a lot going forward, what we should do, what we shouldn't do, and how we can make some changes, working with ourselves and working with the fire departments, the police departments, and the other agencies, on how we can make the town basically a safer, cleaner place to work in general.
Great, so then, the other, I'll go through the assessment if I can a bit too. So everyone kind of gets these confused, but so the Climate Smart Planning Tool Process and Recommendation Summary, that is a specific action of the Climate Smart Communities Program, which the town is pursuing. So the town received 6 points for doing this, and it is also a priority action of the Climate Smart Communities Program. Are you all familiar with? Okay, great. So then we moved into completing the certification assessment for the town. So that includes actions ranging, in 12 different areas. So it's solid, materials management and solid waste. It's involves floodplain management. It's very comprehensive, and so this program has. You can become a bronze level certified community or silver, or just be registered. So I believe the town passed the pledge in 2018. Yeah. So that the town is currently registered, and in order to become bronze level certified, you need 120 points. So we completed the assessment just to see the baseline of where the town is at, and found that at a minimum, the town could likely receive 74 points, and at a maximum, 127 to become Climate Smart Community certified. So this assessment, so that gave us a snapshot where you're at, and the town has a lot of in-progress projects and actions, which shows that there's momentum to become bronze level certified. So this year, we are actually working actively with the Climate Smart Task Force to document all of the work that the town is doing and has done, getting that into an online portal system. There's a lot of just legwork for this, and then getting the town to a point where you're ready to just click the submit button and become reviewed. Which could likely happen in early 2021. What I just mentioned, there's a large range of 74 to 127, right? So, so this document lays out kind of a timeline of in-progress actions, and then also prioritized recommendations for the town achieving Climate Smart Community certification, within the next year, but then also how to keep that momentum going over the next 5 years. And that's based on knowledge and information gathered, again, through, the work of the Climate Smart Task Force, the CAC, speaking to municipal staff, and the town planning staff liaison, and yeah, so it's very exciting, and this kind of shows you, it's a great resource to look at, to just see it all laid out in one place of what's happening in the town related to this program, which can seem really overwhelming, because there's
It is.
just so many actions. So I just wanted to share that. Now, and I know you just received this, but take time to look at it. I'm always available if you have any specific questions about any of the actions or the program itself.
Obviously, all of these actions are beneficial in and of themselves. What benefit is there specifically to being bronze level certified
Sure.
for the town?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, even being registered, you are part of a statewide initiative and program with other neighboring municipalities and municipalities statewide. You're all part of this effort. I encourage you to visit the Climate Smart Communities Program website because there is a participating communities map where you can actually see what others are working on. You can see their profile, you can see what they've applied for, and just that you're part of a network, which is great. You get recognition being bronze level certified. You do receive recognition there because then you have more attention, from the state that you are committed and pursuing this. But I would say for CFA funding, you do get additional points on applications, so that's a direct benefit
Gotcha.
as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
No, and actually, Michelle has done a really wonderful job because it is just huge. The Climate Smart, what they lay out, huge. So she really helped us sort through it and see help us set priorities, things that we can get working on sooner to earn more points, because the more points you have, the better position you are to get grants.
Right.
And it just helps you keep going down.
Well, and if I'm
Right.
reading that right, this said that 74 to 127 are actions we've already completed that we just have to figure out how to file
Well,
through the
how to
portal
document
system, et
them
cetera.
and
Okay.
submit them.
Yeah, and again, this is just the assessment. So what we're working on now and throughout this year is really like the fine tooth effort of really looking at that. An example is like the lighting inventory
Yeah.
and really making sure that the town fits the guidelines and requirements for that action. So some of the actions have a range of points you can get, so you need to
Be thorough.
be very thorough
Sure.
for each one. But that's what I'm here for, is doing that more time-consuming
Michelle is here to
of
assist us do a
documenting.
grant.
Okay.
A
Oh,
grant to
great.
She got here to a grant last year and then this year to assist us through this process.
Yes, so this is all funded through our Hudson Estuary Watershed Resiliency Project.
Any other questions? Michelle, thank you. Thanks for bringing us through that. And thanks for all the help so far getting this started and working with the Climate Smart.
And thank you to all the work.
And
You
thanks
all
Susan,
contributed to
wherever she
this.
is, for
Yep, there's
being our
Yes.
coordinator on this. Yes, I knew you were here somewhere.
Yep. Is it okay if there's extras to
Yes.
pass this out?
Is this going to be on the Climate Smart page, or?
You need to come up.
Yeah, need to come up, so.
Hi, everybody. Hi, I'm Susan Hecht. I'm the chair of the task force, and I just want to say a huge debt of gratitude to Michelle, because we would not be where we are without all her work. It's very exciting. And also to the people on the committee, all town residents who have really stepped up, to do this very important work. We do have a page on the town website. The CAC has a page. We also have a page. And one of the actions actually in the Climate Smart program is to increase our community engagement profile. So I've had a wonderful conversations with Supervisor Bailey, and we're going to hopefully be starting a Facebook page and different things like that to get ourselves out there. We were on News 12 yesterday. I don't know if anybody saw us, but we were on the news. And the same story with Vassar College about their renewable energy. So that was exciting. So word is starting to get out. And if you go to that page, the link is there for the state website and all that, so you can find all those resources. The link is also there for the county Climate Smart Task Force, which has already achieved initial certification. And that's one of the things we're doing also is trying to coordinate so that, we don't do anything redundant. So thank you very much. We hope to come back late in the year with an update for you guys, okay?
Thanks, Susan. Next thing we have are committee reports. Finance, nothing to report. Recreation.
Recreation? All right, okay. Wow. Yes, we met and happy to report that progress is being made on the Greenvale bathrooms and that the water's being hooked up, the electricity's being hooked up, and it should be ready to go in April. And also the fence has been installed at the Over Rocker Park. And there's just a few finishing touches there, but that park is open and ready to go too. And as for day camp, registration is open, so if you're interested in sending your children to day camp, just go to the town website or come into the town rec office. And the winter concerts have been set up. The first one is going to be March 7th. It's Cloud 9. It's going to be at the Senior Center at 6 p.m. And then on March 21st, they're going to have Crazy Feet, and they're going to start actually at 5:15. There's going to be a swing dance class, and then the concert's going to start again at 6. And then April 3rd is the crew also at 6 p.m., all at the Senior Center. Then for the kids, March 28th is going to be the Easter egg hunt and spring festival. So that's going to be earlier than Easter this year. And it's from 11 to 1. It's going to be at Walker Fieldhouse at Vassar College. So that's for the kids. And as far as the seniors go, there's progress is being made on the kitchen there. The hood has been installed and work is continuing to make the kitchen into a commercial kitchen. The coffee bar has been set up, and that's also a work in progress. They're going to be bringing in a new coffee machine. And the only thing else with the seniors is for St. Patty's Day, they're taking a bus trip, and it's already full. So that's it.
Fire advisory?
Yeah, we just reminded the fire districts in regards to the fire watch process in case some systems go down. And we also went over the whole smoke and carbon monoxide detector requirements because that comes up over and over again when people have work done to their house. So everybody's given a sheet of what the requirements are, what they have to do to the house.
Okay, personnel?
I just wanted to remind everyone that we do have ZBA seats available. And so if you know anybody that's interested, we also you can go on the website and always see anything that's available there, planning board, zoning board. So if anybody is interested or you know anybody that might be interested, you could always look at what we have.
Infrastructure? Bill's not here. You guys didn't have a meeting, right?
No, we haven't
No
met.
infrastructure meeting. That brings us to the end of our committee of the whole meeting. And go on to the town board meeting. First thing on the town board meeting is a public hearing for Fox Run rezone. Number 2 is a proclamation, April as Worldwide Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Number 3, resignation of James Challey from the Zoning Board of Appeals as member and chairman. 4, resignation of James LaRosa from the Zoning Board of Appeals. 5, appoint Paul Leahy as Zoning Board of Appeals chairman. 6, authorize the Carnage 5K Habitat for Humanity to be held on May 17th, 2020. 7, authorize the task force agreement with the FBI. 8, authorize the supervisor to sign a Stop DWI 2020 extension amendment agreement with Dutchess County. 9, authorize Scleroderma Foundation Walk to be held on June 20th, 2020. 10, approve the town board minutes. 11, accept and authorize legal Eastdale Town Center documents to accept the dedication of recreation parkland, accept land for recreation purposes, and accept improvements on recreation lands. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item on the agenda. Is that all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would anybody like to discuss any item on the agenda, Doreen?
So I have a question on the first agenda item for the Fox Run rezoning. So could you explain to me, Jay, what the, on the last page of the resolution, number 2, where it says Town Board review and approval of a payment in lieu of taxes agreement in accordance with 210-21H of the Town Code. So does this mean they're now going to ask for a pilot, or they already have a pilot?
They had a pilot in the first one, and they want to incorporate that new piece that they bought into the pilot.
Okay, so this is to incorporate a new piece into an existing pilot.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Would anybody else like to discuss any item on the agenda? If not, motion to resume the rules?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to open public hearing number 1, Fox Run rezone. So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Kelly, just state your name and why you're here.
Good evening, Kelly Leibert with Page Park Associates. We're here tonight just to discuss the rezone of the 3 parcels that are adjacent to the existing Fox Run facility to FC and then to apply the Prod Overlay District. If you recall, this project was before the town board back in 2014 and before the planning board at that time, and there were 3 buildings that were proposed for construction. For those of you who have driven by there are 2 buildings that have been constructed, and the 3rd building has yet to be constructed. We were before the planning board to petition a request to modify that building and expand that building. The application also includes the addition of 3 new parcels that the applicant has purchased. 2 of them are the Avello property, which is consists of 2 parcels, and the 3rd is a small piece on the end of Lake Street, which most people probably don't even know is there. Lake Street is considered a paper street. I could probably write a novel on paper streets at this point, but it really is a meaningless term. No one owns it. It is a road really to nowhere, and there's no road there. This parcel was adjacent to the existing Fox Run property, and we purchased it through a tax auction and simply just want to consolidate it to the existing lot. There's no proposed construction on that, and in fact, it's being included in the open space area, the forever open space area. And that's it.
Anybody have any questions on this one?
Do you want to go into any more detail on what your pilot says?
Sure, I can explain that. I think it's, to some extent, maybe semantics and a misnomer. As part of the original application, there were several legal documents that had to be filed with the county clerk, and that's outlined in your prod zoning. One of those agreements was the agreement to complete a pilot program if the property were sold to a nonprofit. So at the time, there was a lot of concern that the property may be sold to another nonprofit in the area. And so the town board and the planning board came up with an agreement that created a binding document that, again, is filed as a restriction against the land, that if it were sold to a nonprofit, the nonprofit would have to agree to a pilot. The calculations on what the pilot, the end result payment would be, is the exact calculation as to how you figure out taxes due. So there's really no savings if someone
Right.
were to purchase it and put it into a pilot program. The taxes are the same now as they would be
Right.
if someone were to buy it that's a nonprofit.
And currently, your project doesn't have a pilot itself where you're paying reduced taxes.
Correct, we have no
You're paying
benefits.
full-
Yeah, we're paying
full
full taxes,
okay.
correct, yes.
So just so we're
Yes.
clear on that, yes.
And that mention in the resolution is simply just to incorporate those 3 new parcels into that same program.
Right,
And we'll
so
do
we-
that by amendment with the planning board. Yep, those
But-
will be filed.
But that pilot program is not currently in effect and would only go into effect if it were sold to another
Correct,
entity.
that's correct.
Thank
And
you.
again, the calculation for how the,
Is
it really shouldn't be
equal.
called a pilot, but that's the
Right.
mechanism in order to make that happen. But
Right.
it's equal to the
What it
taxes
would be
that would be
worth on the
paid,
tax roll.
correct.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else like to discuss this public hearing? Pam, come on up. It's
On
on,
Fulton Street?
Correct, between
yeah,
Fulton and
it's
Cedar.
Fulton's apartment housing on Fulton Street on the right side. Yeah.
It's right after the Mayor's College dorms.
Would anybody else like to discuss this public hearing? If not, a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Whereas the town board has received an application from Page Park Associates for property known as Fox Run at Bolton, requesting that the zone and designation for tax parcel number 6162-09-168737, 6162-05-119824, 6162-05-125791, and 6162-05-161 788 located at Lake Street, Fulton Street, Rondex Road, and Campus View Court, Poughkeepsie, New York, in the town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of approximately 15.88 acres, be changed to Fairview Center District with a planned residential overlay district designation. And whereas the proposed amendment is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and the town board does hereby waive a verbatim reading of the said amendment and does direct that the said amendment be spread across the record as if it, in fact, had been read verbatim. And whereas a change of zone would involve plus or minus 15.88 acres, an action to amend the zone and map is an unlisted action under New York State Environmental Quality Review Act. And whereas May 22nd, 2019, the town board consented to the planning board acting as the lead agency to coordinate the environmental review of the proposed action pursuant to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law, referred this matter to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Economic Development for a recommendation pursuant to GML 239-M, and to the Town Planning Board for an advisory report pursuant to Town Code Section 210-154, and deferred setting a public hearing on the proposed zone and map amendment until it has received a recommendation and determination of significant pursuant to SECRA from the Planning Board as lead agency. And whereas on June 20th, 2019, the Dutchess County Department of Plan Development pursuant to General Municipal Law 239-M advised that the adoption of this amendment is a matter of local concern. And whereas on December 19, 2019, the Planning Board adopted a secret negative declaration for the above referenced project. And whereas on December 19, 2019, the Planning Board provided its advisory report in response to the Town Board referral 522, number 20 of 2019 of the proposed zone and map amendment. And said report was conveyed to the Town Board by memorandum dated December 27, 2019. Whereas the town clerk has notified the clerks of the surrounding municipalities of this public hearing pursuant to GML 239-NN. And whereas legal notice of this public hearing was posted on January 30th, 2020, and published in the Poughkeepsie Journal on February 3rd, 2020. And whereas the town board of the town of Poughkeepsie held a duly noticed public hearing on the 19th day of February 2020 at 7 p.m. at the town of Poughkeepsie Town Hall, 1 Rock Road, Poughkeepsie, New York. Now therefore being enacted pursuant to Article 3, 210-11 of the Town of Poughkeepsie Code, that the zoning designation for the property known as Fox Run at Fulton, tax parcel number 6162-09-168737, 6162-05119824, 6162-05125791, and 6162-05161788, located at Lake Street, Fulton Street, Rondeck Road, and Campus View Court, Poughkeepsie, New York, in the town of Poughkeepsie, consisting of approximately 15.88 acres, be changed to Fairview Center District with a planned residential overlay district designation, said PROD designation being subject to town board review and approval of declaration of restrictive covenants, which includes language requiring that the occupancy of the project for multifamily housing use will continue to be made available to the general public without discrimination towards or restrictions to any particular groups or classes of persons, regardless of the terms of any pilot agreement, which restriction is intended to advance the stated PROD purpose, to encourage the provisions of housing opportunities for working individuals, couples, families, and seniors as part of a multiple unit development, and 2, the town board review and approval of a payment in lieu of taxes agreement in accordance with 210-21H of the town code. Be it further enacted that the said local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State. So moved.
Second?
The motion is second. Any further questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whereas Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological movement disorder with the central nerve system, which has a unique impact on each patient, and whereas according to the Parkinson's Action Network and Parkinson's Disease Foundation, the American Parkinson's Disease Association and National Institutes of Health, there are over 1 million Americans diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, and whereas symptoms include slowness, tremor, difficulty with balance and speaking, rigidity, cognitive and memory problems, and Whereas although new medicines and therapies may enhance life for some time for people with Parkinson's, more work is needed for a cure. And whereas increased education and research are needed to help find more effective treatments with fewer side effects and ultimately a cure for Parkinson's disease. And whereas a multidisciplinary approach to Parkinson's disease care includes local wellness support and caregiver groups. And whereas April has been proclaimed as Worldwide Parkinson's Awareness Month for all to recognize the need for more research and help in dealing with the devastating effects of Parkinson's disease. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie proudly proclaims the month of April 2020 as Parkinson's Awareness Month and encourages all municipal officials, citizens, and visitors to participate in the scheduled activities to learn more about Parkinson's disease. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby accept with regret the resignation of James Chelly as a member and chairman of the Town of Poughkeepsie Zoning Board effective immediately. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
Yeah, going to be sad to see Jim go. Oh, he's done this for 10 years, and he really did an exceptional job because it's not always easy to face down a room full of people who are very unhappy. So,
No, he's done a good job. I think he's run a fair board. He's going to be greatly missed, but he wants to move on to the next chapter in his life, and I wish him the best of luck and thank him for all that he's done for us over these years and running the zoning board.
Absolutely. Gonna miss him.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept with regret the resignation of James LaRosa as member of the Town of Poughkeepsie Zoning Board, effective immediately. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or comments on this? I just want to thank him for his short term of service. He was elected as a commissioner of New Hamburg Fire District, and he just didn't want to overburden himself with what he was doing, so
Yeah.
wish him luck on what he's doing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby appoint Paul Leahy to serve as chairman of the Town of Poughkeepsie Zoning Board of Appeals effective immediately. So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions on this one?
I'm sure Paul do a good job.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Paul, welcome aboard. Thank you for what you've done as an alternate and as a zoning board member already, and for handling some of the meetings, so best of luck. If you need any help, we're here to guide you along the way. Thank you. Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby approve the application of Crunch Fitness to hold a Crunch 5K to benefit Habitat for Humanity on Sunday, May 17, 2020. Location of which run is from Crunch Fitness to Crown Heights and back to Crunch Fitness. And be it further resolved, the Town Board is in receipt of a certificate of liability insurance naming the Town of Poughkeepsie as additional insured. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, has offered to reimburse the Town of Poughkeepsie Police Department for overtime salary expended for the Hudson Valley Safe Streets Task Force, subject to funding availability and reimbursement limits. Now therefore be resolved that the execution of the FBI cost reimbursement agreement annexed is a type 2 action requiring no secret review, and be it further resolved that Chief Faber is authorized to execute said agreement on behalf of the Town of Poughkeepsie. So moved.
Second.
Good. Motion second. Any questions on this? Just want to thank the chief for reaching out to the FBI and working on this, because it's just going to be an extra added tool, working together with them and all the other departments that could help keep the crime down. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby authorize the supervisor to sign the 2020 Stop DWI Program Extension and Amendment Agreement, DWI Checkpoints, with the County of Dutchess, a copy of which is attached. So moved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be resolved, Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby approve the application submitted by Candace Schneider on behalf of the Tri-State Scleroderma Foundation to hold the Poughkeepsie Stepping Out to Cure Scleroderma Walk on June 20th, 2020, from 7 to 1 p.m. on the Vassar College property. Be it further resolved that the Town Board, Town of Poughkeepsie is hereby hereby approve the application for said Poughkeepsie Scleroderma Walk pending receipt by the Town Clerk of a certificate of liability insurance naming the Town of Poughkeepsie as an additional insured. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Be it resolved, the Town Board of the Town of Poughkeepsie does hereby accept the minutes for the following 2019 and 2020 Town Board meetings, to wit, November 20th, 2019, Committee of the Whole, regular Town Board meeting, December 4th, 2019, regular Town Board meeting, December 11th, 2019, special meeting, December 18th, 2019, Committee of the Whole, regular Town Board meeting, January 8th, 2020, regular Town Board meeting, January 22nd, 2020, regular Town Board meeting, February 5th, 2020, regular Town Board meeting. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas an irrevocable offer of dedication of recreation land, hereinafter offer of dedication for parkland purposes from MHTC Development LLC, dated January 17th, 2019, was presented to the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Board, a copy of which offer of dedication with Dutchess County Clerk's Office recording sheet attached is annexed hereto as Exhibit A, and whereas this acceptance is part of the development of the Eastdale Village Town Center, which project has been the subject of a completed seeker review, now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board does hereby accept the dedication by the deed annexed in Exhibit B on the terms provided therein and in Exhibit A, and it is authorized the supervisor to execute all documents necessary to effect this conveyance to the Town of Poughkeepsie. So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any questions on this one? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Whereas an offer of donation of land for recreation purposes dated September 18, 2018, from Lot 2A Victory LLC, which included an offer of real property, realty, as well as improvements, was presented to Town of Poughkeepsie Town Board, a copy of which offer, with the Dutchess County Clerk's Office recording sheet attached, is annexed to this resolution as Exhibit A. And whereas the acceptance of the realty is offered as part of the development of Eastdale Village Town Center, which has been the subject of a completed secret review, now therefore be resolved, the Town Board does hereby accept the donation of the realty as non-park recreation land from Lot 2A Victory LLC by deed annexed at Exhibit B hereto, and authorize the supervisor to execute all documents necessary to effect the acceptance. So moved.
Second.
Good motion and second. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
Whereas an offer of donation of land for the recreation purpose offered the realty from Lot 2A Victory LLC, as well as the improvements to be completed, was presented to the Town of Poughkeepsie Town Board, a copy of which offer with the Dutchess County's Clerk Office recording sheet is annexed to Exhibit A hereto. And whereas the town this day by resolution accepted the offer of the realty, and whereas the construction of the improvement contemplated by the offer has been completed, inspected, and approved by the town, and whereas MHTC LLC has tendered to the town a bill of sale with representation, warranties, and covenants, now therefore be resolved that the town board does hereby accept the improvements described in the bill of sale annexed at Exhibit B, and authorize the supervisor to execute all documents necessary for the conveyance of them to the town. So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion and second. Any questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Just so if anybody doesn't know, this is the newest park that's located on the far end of Eastdale Village. It sits on the creek. It's about 17 acres. It's been completed with the pavilion, bathrooms, and a parking lot, and we should be holding activities this year, and it will be available for rent this year, and it's a nice passive place to go for a walk. And I want to thank the Rec Commission and Tom Meyering, if he's still here, for all the work they did in getting this up and running and getting through the process. It's a little off the beaten path, but it's a great place to go and hang out.
It is beautiful.
Yes. That brings us to the end of our town board meeting. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules for any item.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody that would like to discuss anything at all, this is the time to come up and discuss it. Could you please try to keep any comments to approximately 3 minutes? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Susan Durasmo, and I reside at 2 Ronnie Lane, Poughkeepsie. The reason I'm here tonight is to express my concern on the time frame of being notified regarding a public hearing for proposed site plan. It is concerning that a letter is mailed only 10 days prior to any public hearing. This does not give an affected individual enough time to prepare. I would like to recommend that the town revisit this procedure to notify any and all affected individuals at the time of a site planning submittal to the planning board. In our situation, if it was not for myself witnessing activity on the applicant whose property is adjacent to mine prior to them submitting their site plan, we would not have known about this particular controversial plan until 10 days prior to the public hearing. I would also like to mention that at the first public hearing, we did request signage of the next public hearing. While we appreciate the signage, the wording is concerning as it states site plan approval for replacement of. This would be interpreted that the plan has already been approved and that the project is a replacement when it is a relocation and a new build, as wording does matter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else? Doreen?
I'd just like to say a couple of things about the Climate Smart Task Force and the Climate Smart Community Plan. So all these checklists and all these items are great, but you know, for 20 years I've been talking about wetland protection. And I was on the CAC when the previous comprehensive plan was enacted. And we were promised then that there would be changes to the aquatic resource protection law, especially the buffer sizes. And, you know, so that was 2007, and here we are 13 years later, and nothing has happened. And one of the priority items for, from the Climate Smart Communities Certification Manual, item number 7.17, is to conserve wetlands and forests in order to manage stormwater, recharge groundwater, mitigate flooding. Then another item is 7.12, to conserve, revegetate, and reconnect floodplains and buffers in riparian areas. So then they talk about, you know, vegetation and trees alongside streams, wetlands, and about all the benefits. So, you know, again, all these things sound good on paper, and you can get points for identifying them, but unless you're actually going to do something and implement them, it's really, in the long run, it's really not going to help. And I would also suggest that the town take a serious look at the building that you're going to be thinking about for consolidating the town and fire, because the one property, even though it was mentioned several times that it's not available, what seemed to be the favored property was the wetland in front of the IBM plant. So on one hand, you can't be saying that, you know, gee, we're going to be this great climate smart community, and then you're going to build in this, you know, wetland, one of the few left in that area, and you have the consultant saying, oh, it's great because we can pave over a large part of that for parking. So again, if you're going to be doing this, you really need to, you know, not just check things off, you actually need to follow through on what you're saying you're going to do. So. And then one other thing, I have to say, I'm confused. Is there a pilot on Fox Run right now, or isn't there?
No, they're paying full tax.
They're paying full taxes, Doreen?
The pilot's only if they sell it to a tax exempt entity.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a clause to try to keep them from selling to a tax exempt entity is
Okay,
what the clause was put in. So as far as like a cash break, no.
Okay, so say, for example, there was somebody like Maris that was thinking about buying it. They would have to pay the full
Exactly.
taxes under the prod.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and they don't have a pilot now.
Correct.
All right, thanks for
Yeah, why
pointing
they
that
called
out.
it that, I don't know, but that's what it's always been called.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. And Doreen, thank you for the heads up the other day.
You're welcome.
Anybody else like to discuss anything? Ma'am?
Is it open mic now?
Yeah.
Well, this lady was waiting next.
No, go ahead. Yep, we'll just ask everybody, please keep to the 3 minutes.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Nancy Fedoroshenko, property owner here in the town of Poughkeepsie. And I've come here to tell you a tale. I want you all to pretend that you own a dog and you happen to live in Saugerties. Your mama, on the other hand, lives in the town of Poughkeepsie. She has to undergo major surgery. So she says to her children, please come take care of me while I do the surgery and after the surgery. You agree? Sure, I'll come, but I gotta bring my dog. She says, no problem. Make sure you bring enough food to take care of the dog. 1 week goes by. Mama's feeling a little better. You go back to Sorgeties, you take care of your property, but Mama says, please come back, I need you. You go back and you take care of Mama. 2 weeks go by. 3 weeks go by. Mama's still not on her feet. In the meantime, the dog warden sees this great big black lab in the backyard. She runs to the town clerk, and she says to the town clerk, yo, does that dog have a license? The town clerk goes, we don't know. We don't have any record on that dog. What does your officer do? She issues a ticket, and she says, yo, Mama, you're a harborer. Under our law, you are now guilty of not having a license. And because you don't have a license, guess what? We're going to give you a ticket for being a harborer. Well, under New York State law, harborer does define one to be an owner of a dog. But New York State law put the responsibility of the license of the dog on the town. The town has a declaration that says an owner is one who harbors a dog. Is that you, sir? Is that you, child? Are you harboring that dog? No, Mama's harboring the dog. Why is she harboring the dog? Because the dog happens to be in her house. Your law also says one who is the owner and in possession of the dog must license the dog. You possess that chair, sir. Do you own that chair? You, young lady, go to the library and you get a book. Do you borrow the book or do you own the book? What is it? Do you possess the book? Of course you possess the book, but you're not the owner. The same thing takes place with these codes that you have. If the dog belongs to a person who is in another town, and it happens to come into Poughkeepsie, you cannot hit a person that's in Poughkeepsie with a ticket that says you're in violation if they don't own the dog. I'm here to say to you, as you well know, because each of you have gotten emails from me in various truncated ways, and it says point blank, hey, you know, I do not own this dog, so why am I in court? I ask you to withdraw these tickets. You say to me, we can't do that. It's in court. Sure, it's been in court for 7 months. I am so stressed out that the blood vessels in my veins, in my eyes, are popping. That's how stressed out I am over this. You can't do anything about it, and I promise not to bring this up. But what I am bringing up is the fact that there are dog owners out there, just like me, that find themselves in extenuating circumstances where they have to give their dog to somebody else to take care of. Should they be afraid that they are going to get, as I got, a warrant or a document which is supposed to be an accusatory instrument that says, I want a warrant of arrest for this person because they got a dog in their house and it's not licensed, but oh, we're not going to tell you that the dog doesn't belong to her. We're just going to tell you we want a warrant. You are in violation of the Bill of Rights, Fourth Amendment, by asking a person, by signing an instrument of this kind that is not under oath, that demands a warrant of arrest for a person. Now, I didn't want to go into
Mrs.
Bill of
Rudancic,
Claims,
your
but you
time
know
is up.
that that...
It's 3 minutes, your time is up.
All right, time's up.
Yep. Thank you very much, and we've addressed your concerns. I told you, we'll see how it turns out in court.
Change the law.
Next.
Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
you for the opportunity to speak this evening. My name's Kathleen Ryder. I reside at 4 Debbie Court. And to follow up on Ms. Durasmo's comments, we had signs that we requested be erected for public notification, which were done so after my request at the first public hearing for this Knapp's Corner Station project. It took the town 30 days after that December meeting to put up signs. It would seem that a project of this magnitude in a residential area, inside a residential area, not adjacent to, inside the residential area, would automatically qualify for this kind of consideration and benefit everybody involved. Secondly, the signs were quite small in comparison to other town signs that were posted. For example, the town of Fishkill has signs on Route 376 regarding a subdivision that they're doing. These signs have been placed well in advance of the public hearing itself and several feet tall, so that as you drive by, they're clearly visible. These signs were placed by the town, I'm told, on Central Hudson property. But we have to consider that due to the time of the year and short daylight hours, these were placed coming into the development when most of us live in the development, and when we leave, they're on the wrong side of the road for us to see. So when we return at night, it's dark. These are in poor lighted areas, and they're not visible. They're set way back from the road. They're set down close to the road in the brush. They were not visible, not unless you were looking for them. Lastly, there's been no responses to our emails from the planning board regarding any concerns or questions that we've had since the December meeting, and I wonder why. Isn't there, normally some sort of a response? I'm not the only person who's emailed.
I will find out. I didn't know they hadn't responded.
We've sent several.
I know they've taken them all. I've sold your responses that were passed on to the planning board
Yes,
members.
sir. You
Yes.
were the only person that said you would pass along my responses. You were CC'd on that. It went directly to the board. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sir?
Good evening. My name is Andrew Ryder. I also reside at 4 Debbie Court. I just had something we've been going through is we've been trying to dig through some of the issues related to the proposed Central Hudson relocation. And one of the things we've come across is that we can't find any definition, any good definition of how to handle an electrical substation. What we found is in the zoning code 210-9, there's a definition of a public utility, which states that facilities for any business that provides the public with necessities such as water, electricity, natural gas, and communication services, and which is subject to special governmental regulation as to such things as rates and need based on public necessity. As used herein, such facilities include but are not limited to all structures, lines, pipes, transformers, poles, and equipment necessary for the generation, collection, and distribution of the commodity or service provided by the business. That would seem to imply that any public utility generating electricity would fall under this category. However, under the public utility structures, section 210-96, it does not clearly state that. What it does specify is the setbacks that apply to any commercial solar energy and commercial wind energy facility, but not electrical. It seems that there's a huge gap in the codes here. Maybe it's there and we haven't found it yet, but as we're looking, we have not found any description of what the zoning laws or zoning codes for an electrical substation. We're concerned about that. We think that there's a gap there that needs to be addressed because not only electrical substations, any other type of public utility that's not a commercial solar energy or commercial wind energy facility does not seem to have a definition of a setback. So just request that you would look into that. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know the laws that well, but it's my first time going through this, but just take some time and look into that.
Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Make a motion to resume the rules?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.